Sweet! Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's the way you can follow our personal Twitters at the show's Twitter page, which is @_JD Sports. You can listen to us on SoundCloud by going to SoundCloud and finding JD Sports. And you can also do the same on YouTube. Just search us.
JD Sports Show. It's easier that way.
Dwight?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
I was trying to figure out how I was going to go into this, right? Because there's a lot of fun and big and exciting. Well, happy Thanksgiving.
You as well. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
I see you're wearing the Thanksgiving jersey. We'll definitely get into the Cowboys.
Apparently they're actually wearing these this year, not the white ones.
I do like those.
My favorite jerseys.
Does that mean they're going to lose? We'll talk about it.
That's rhetorical at this point. It's not funny. I'm a little under the weather, as y'all can hear. I sound like
we're both working a lot.
Working a lot.
It's late.
I'm
I
sick.
had a rough day the day of recording here. I had a kind of a rough day to get here, but I'm excited to get here because I have a lot to get into.
Well, I'm sick. That means we're going to have 80,000 views on this video. So shout out to y'all, 80,000 people. Y'all can hear it. Like,
doing anything exciting?
I sound like shit.
Yeah. You're doing anything excited for the Cowboys game? Doing anything? You just kicking at the crib?
Just kicking it.
Maybe Thanksgiving yourself?
It's the only day off, so you know.
Yeah, it is your only day off. I'm going to actually work Thanksgiving, but
that sucks.
It's okay. I might get off, go over to a couple people's houses. Hopefully, maybe my parents will still be around. They might go up and see my grandma, so if they are still around, maybe I'm going to go see them. If not, I'll go other around. Maybe even stop in here, watch some Cowboys with you. We'll see what happens. I got to get through work first. We'll figure that out.
No, I actually plan on watching football on Thursday, so that'd be nice.
Something more exciting?
What's up?
Even more exciting than Thanksgiving, because I love Thanksgiving.
I'm going to say it's hard because I'm really excited about Thanksgiving.
Dwight, this is our 100th episode, and I'm the stat guy, right?
For real?
As the producer, you're the producer who keeps those kind of stats, and you let me know it was the 100th episode. So I'm pretty excited.
Clutch of me.
It was really clutch of you.
Because, like I was telling him off here, I was literally counting this like a month or two ago, and it was around 80-something. I was like, I should probably keep track of this, and I just stopped, and literally, the night of this recording, I was like, what is the number? And I counted it, and it said 99. I was like, all right, I'm tripping. Let me count it again. And it was 99. I was like, holy shit. That's clutch.
Technically, it's our 101st episode, but the first episode got thrown out because remember we couldn't get it to upload.
We still have that too. It's in the archives.
It's in the archives. It is the first ever episode. It is technically our first ever. It was an NFL preview. It looked a little something like this with a blank wall behind us, so a little fitting for this week. Remember the blank wall in my first apartment? Yeah. Actually, remember that one was done in the living room of that apartment. It wasn't my first apartment, but it was one of my apartments. My first apartment in this area. That was done in the living room.
I don't have that one. I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah. Okay. And our first ever one then looked like this. The first ever episode that we had it, but remember it got trashed somehow before we got to upload it. It was the NFL preview of that time.
3 years ago.
1 week later, we redid it. We did a different show. We did basically a take show on what happened in week 1. It's that was the start of JD Sports.
That's the one
we have not made that mistake since.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Hell yeah.
This is awesome. I hope we have 1,000 more episodes, but 100 episodes in, you got to start somewhere. This has been exciting. So to get into it.
That's unbelievable.
It's kind of fitting to start off sports-wise for our 100th episode to be Cowboys-Eagles. Unfortunately, it was not.
Likes to rub it in, don't you?
It was more of a scrimmage, not necessarily an actual of the two teams with full strength. Is that the best way to put it?
Sure. Did you watch it? Because I didn't.
Of course I did.
Of course I didn't.
I'm gonna watch every Eagles game, even unfortunately when they're bad. I watch every Eagles game. I watched.
Okay, time out.
I watched probably.
Time out. No.
You watch a lot of Cowboys games.
That was a slight jab, man. It was a slight jab.
No, I was actually about to say I watch. No, I mean this is how low it gets for me, right?
I'm gonna say this is
a
slight jab.
At me?
No, at me.
Oh no, it's not. I'm literally about to tell you. This is how like sports. You always like to say sports nerdy, or this is how whatever sports geeky I am. I watched over 100 Phillies games this year, and they lost over 100 games this year. Now I didn't watch all their losses, but I guarantee I tuned into or listened to at least 4+ innings of over 100 games this year, and they lost over 100 games this year. So or just under 100 games. Sorry, they lost 98 or 97, whatever it was. But my point being, I didn't mean it to be a jab at you. I sadly watch my teams even when they suck.
I know some people, they were like, oh, how much, I even had somebody that we work with, they were like, oh, how much of that game did you watch last night? I said, I won like this, meaning Big Fat Zero. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, I did not watch it. I knew what was going to happen. One, two, Survivor Series was on, which was my freaking priority, which I made it my priority. And then I was like, wait, I watched the last quarter and a half of the week previously where we got destroyed, so I was like...
You figured that was going to happen again?
Well, no, it was more so me saying, oh, I watched when we're bad too. I watched the Quincy Carter's year. Speaking of, really quickly, just on the top of my head, shout out to Terry Glenn, RIP, died suddenly over the past couple of days.
I wanted to bring that up as well.
It sucks.
Super sad.
Yeah, one of my favorite...
Patriots, Packers, and Cowboys receiver.
During that crappy Cowboys era, he was... hands down, easily my favorite player. I love Terry Glenn. He was highly underrated on our team, and he was very dependable.
He still lived in the Dallas area.
He was solid. He wasn't great, but he was very solid.
Yeah. Of
that Bill Parcells era. So shout out to him.
Absolutely. I was a fan of Terry Glenn as well. So that is sad. It was sad to hear. Sudden, just like the Roy Halladay thing we were talking about. It's the same kind. That was my thought. Was like, oh man, it's just kind of like these athletes, that's not fun to see. That we have connections to. The game itself.
Right.
The Eagles, look, here, I'll be honest with you. The Cowboys came out and in the first half, in my eyes, controlled the clock more than I thought that they were going to be able to in general. Now, it didn't lead to any touchdowns. It was all field goals, obviously. But they were able to control the clock on like a 12-minute drive sometime in the second quarter. And they did that. They had to do that in the Rams game. They did that in the Chiefs game, which they won the Chiefs game. And they did that in another game where, what was the other game where they controlled the clock the whole time and still lost? I forget. But point being is they've done that multiple times now. Right. And this was the first. I didn't know if they were going to be able to do that with their tackle being out without Zeke. And they were able to do that, but they only ended up getting a field goal out of it. Instead of a touchdown. Not saying that makes a difference because the Eagles end up putting 30 points up in the second half. The Eagles' offense as well in the second half came out and was able to
showed up.
They figured out ways to keep Dallas on the sidelines the way Dallas was keeping them on the sidelines. And next thing you know, they were able to control the clock a little more and put things in their possession. And when you're able to go up the way they did, because they went up, they scored twice out of the gate coming out of halftime. And when you do that and you knock off about 8 minutes in each drive, or I think it was 7 minutes in each drive, you end up putting a lot of pressure on the Cowboys to then start having to pass the ball, obviously. And look, Dak had 4 turnovers. He obviously looked rattled at times, but there was pressure in his face the entire time. Everybody, look, I always joke, right? My favorite thing to hear, I hear it at bars, I hear it at my jobs, I hear it at every my favorite, I always joke back at you, my favorite thing to hear, and this is, everyone says it, what you get at Tom Brady is pressure. Well, yeah, anytime there's a 350-pound man jumping in someone's face, yes, and you're absolutely right. The way to get the best quarterback of all time is pressure, but you know why Brady's as good as he is? Because he gets the ball out quicker than anybody else because he's barely ever pressured, and he has a good offensive line as well. So, point being, though, it doesn't matter who you are. You can beat Tom Brady. If there's pressure in your face the way Dak Prescott had all Sunday night, you are going to get absolutely run out. This is my argument. We'll get into Russell Wilson in a little bit. We'll get into the Seahawks in a little bit. This is my argument for Russell Wilson. I talk about Tom Brady and Carson as the two leading candidates for MVP, but Russell Wilson his offensive line is miserable. Without him, they would be a 3-win team. I mean, it is disgusting to sit and watch him have to run around the way he is. Point being is he is a little more mobile than Brady would be, or you know what I mean. So. Or in a lot of these pocket passers in the NFL. So he's able to do this, but I mean, he's getting pressure in his face over and over and over. And Dak is as well, but even Dak's got a little more size, like Big Ben, you know what I mean? Where Wilson's a little quicker, like a Vic quicker. So that would be, I guess, the difference there for Dak to not be able to get away. But it's in 2 games now it's 17 hurries and 11 or 12 sacks, and
It's exactly why I didn't care about this game.
It's not that I felt bad for him on the last turnover that ended up being a touchdown for the defense, but I was just like, there it was. Like there, but there it was. Like it was like that kind of summed up his night. And it wasn't necessarily even completely his fault.
I just need people to relax on him. Like people are just overreacting to. Okay, he had a bad game. His bad game, worst game of his career. But previously, his other game, which was against Denver
earlier in the season.
Right, and
two good defenses,
game. Right.
This one with a lot of missing pieces.
And he is not the focal point of our offense. It's clearly Zeke Elliott, which is
that was known.
I think people just need to freaking relax on this whole Dak sucks thing. I was like, hey,
let me put it to this way: would Tony Romo look any better? Tony Romo looked about the same.
Yeah,
probably. You think he would look a little better?
Well, I think he's a better quarterback.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
I think he might figure it out. That's not to say that Dak's a bad quarterback.
Right? No. I didn't. I didn't take it that way.
It's just Tony. I think Tony Romo would figure.
I know what you meant.
He'd do better.
Okay.
But
more season though.
You don't take away of the fact that Zeke Elliott, our number one offensive weapon, and our number one offensive lineman, our best defensive player, and our best kicker in the league, one of the best kickers in the league. You don't just shrug off that.
A safety was out as well.
Right, and our secondary is already absolute trash. And I love these. And it's not you, but I love because Eagles fans been all been my mentions last week and this week, of course. But whatever, that's fine. But I keep telling them and they keep coming back at me saying, well, we lost Peters, we lost this. And I'm like, but you didn't lose your number one offensive weapon. You didn't lose your number one tackle that...
I would say that Peters is as big as a loss on the offensive line as Smith is, but the difference is in the sense of...
You guys have more depth.
Right. The difference is that the offensive line for the Eagles have way more depth. That's
our number one offensive player is Zeke Elliott. If you lose...
That was my point, is the Eagles did not lose any skill position at all.
You're not the same.
But the Eagles didn't lose any skill positions at all. They haven't lost.
Because people are
they haven't lost Jeffries.
They lost Sproles. I was like, he's not an.
They replaced him with Jay Ajayi.
Yeah. That's hello, and you guys don't rely on running backs at all. So
the running backs that they have get it done, but Blunt, Ajayi, Smallwood,
and if any of them go out,
Clement all have done well.
Smallwood,
Clement had a touchdown and a 2-point conversion in the game against Dallas. And he had a touchdown or two the game before, and Smallwood had a touchdown.
Is easily the number one running back in the NFL.
I don't know if he's number one, but he's the best. He's the best running back. He's the best player on.
You don't know if he's number one.
He's a top 3, top 4 running back. But yeah, I think him, Gurley, who else?
This guy, he's easily number one.
Who else is up there?
Right. Top 3, top 4, but I can't name MIS. Le'Veon Bell would be in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Le'Veon Bell's the best. I think he's the best. I think Zeke's right there.
If Zeke's not 1 or 2, I can't take Zeke.
I think Gurley's there.
Gurley's 3.
I think Gurley, Zeke, Bell, who else? Freeman from Atlanta. The running back from Arizona that got hurt. He's in that mix as well. Fournette is going to throw his name in the hat in the next year or so. And
he can stay away.
But look, I'm not saying Zeke's not a top 5, top 3 talent. I think Zeke is a top 3, top 5 talent, no question. Running back. I wasn't saying that.
That's why.
And he is their best. He is their best player on offense. I don't disagree with that as well.
Eagles fans. I need Eagles fans to just stay in my matches because I got Eagles fans and this is why I can't stand when y'all beat us because I just got illogical Eagles fans that don't think logically and speak logically and think with sense. And when I tell them these things, and when I say, well, no, this, then they cowardly just, moonwalk out of their conversation because they realize they're stupid. You don't tell me it's the same. Don't tell me these injuries are comparable because they're not comparable. Don't tell me that I should feel some type of way. No, I'm a fucking expert because the only guy's an expert. Right. I picked the fucking Eagles. I expected this.
Absolutely. Just like I said last year when the Eagles played,
they're not the same team as
the Cowboys in Dallas, and I picked the Eagles. I picked the Eagles to win the game, but I said going into that game, I knew that Dallas was the better team, and I understood that even though the game it went into overtime and Dallas beat them, but. I was excited that the Eagles played a good game against them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I understand. Sometimes that's how the dice rolls.
It's funny. Remember last year when I said this is the first time ever I'm not excited about the Eagles Cowboys game because I knew we were going to beat y'all, and I was like I'm not interested in this game. I'm not going to watch it. I didn't watch it. It's just funny how people seem to forget that because this year when I said I'm not watching this game, people were like, well, you're not a real fan. I was like, why? Because I chose not to watch one fucking game that I had the opportunity to. That doesn't make me a non-fan. I had other interests. Had I not been watching Survivor Series, yeah, I probably would have been watching it. But last year when we were winning and I knew we were going to destroy y'all, I said, I have no interest in watching that game. I got to be doing something else. I got something else to do. It has nothing to do with whether we're good or bad. So, Eagles fans, stay out my mentions because you sound really stupid. Just saying.
I'm not going to base this off of just the game against Dallas. I'm going to base this off of the entire season. Carson Wentz, and then the second half of the game against Dallas was kind of on pace with everything else that I've been super impressed with. He has been just as on point as I can absolutely ask from a quarterback stance. And I said it last year at the end of the year. My most excited part about Carson Wentz was last year that he didn't lose them any football games. This year I think he's stepping up and actually putting the gas down, putting the pedal down to the and really putting them a step away from everybody to put the pressure on them. In the second half there, like they did against Dallas, he's been doing that multiple times. They've been blowing out teams that presumably that they are more talented than, and they've been beating teams that you seem pretty talented as well. So, I mean, for him to just keep moving these steps and looking the way he's looking, if they can continue to do this, they are very fun. Right now, they are the cream of the crop in the NFC, and the teams right behind them, you have New Orleans, you have the Rams, you have Minnesota, all reaching right there. We're going to get into those as well. But with Dallas, Smith is supposed to come back either on Thanksgiving or the week after. Right. Bailey's supposed to come back on Thanksgiving. Sean Lee's supposed to come back the week after.
It's all great, but there's one common denominator that's missing.
Zeke.
The issue.
Do you think there's an opportunity before we move on to the rest of the NFC? Because I was going to start talking about the rest of those people right behind Philadelphia that are going to be reaching at Philadelphia. Do you think there's a chance for Dallas? Because even in those divisions, how close they are.
We have a shot for a wild card.
Do you think? That's what I'm asking. Do you think there's a shot at the wild card?
We're only 500, which isn't good, but it's not, it doesn't put you out of the wild card shot. Yeah.
Because the South wild card right now
we stay afloat,
has 6 wins. You guys have what, 5 wins?
Yeah, we're 5-5.
South wild card has 7 wins and 6 wins.
As long as we stay afloat, I just don't think it's going to happen.
So they're only 2 behind them.
I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we stay afloat.
And they're only 1 behind the Seahawks?
I think we stay.
They're only 1 behind the Seahawks.
I think we stay around either 500 or 1 game below.
That puts it in perspective, though, because a lot of people think the Seahawks are still the team to beat, one of the teams to beat in the NFC, even though they're 6-4.
I wouldn't go in there anymore.
We can get into that game as well. Okay, but you don't think Dallas is going to make the wild card?
No, so that I think they will be in the mix of a wild card.
Oh.
I just don't necessarily. No, I don't think they're going to be there.
I know.
They're going to be in that mix. Do I think they're going to eventually get there? No.
I don't think they are either, but I think they're going to be in the mix. I think that they do. So you think they win a game or 2 here coming up?
Yeah.
Their schedule gets a little easier with the Chargers on a short week.
Until Zeke comes back, I don't have any hope for this team until something miraculous.
But that means they only have 2 more wins in their season. That wouldn't be in the mix then.
Whatever.
They're talented enough though. If
allegedly, even though outside of last year we were a 500 team for the past decade, so I don't know.
Talking about teams in the mix. The Washington Redskins might have pulled themselves right out of it they were up 2 scores twice on the New Orleans Saints from a minute and a half to go in the third quarter. Drew Brees scored 3 of the last 4 times to tie the game and go into overtime, and then scored again in overtime. They kicked a field goal there in overtime to win the game, to beat Washington. They were down 14 points twice, like I said, with just a minute to go in the third quarter. Throughout the rest of the game, they were down 14 points twice. So to come back the way they did, Drew Brees was vintage Drew Brees on the last drive to send it to overtime. He was 5 for 5, 48 yards and a touchdown. They've been relying on their run game, right, all year long. And I was the whole time thinking, man, is something wrong with Drew Brees' arm? You know how people are always saying, oh, look at Peyton Manning's arm was shot at the end of his career, blah, blah, blah. I was like, the way they're running the ball, super impressed. But I just was like, are they just trying to hold Drew Brees? No, he still has it in his repertoire. He came out there, absolutely lit everything on fire. The thing that impresses me the most about them with their run game is, if you look back on the years that they've been good with Drew Brees, their best years, the years that they were making the playoffs, the years that they won their division, the year that they won the Super Bowl, they had very good run games. Reggie Bush, who I've never been a big fan of, he was their running back the year they won the Super Bowl, but he was like third. He had over 1,000 yards rushing that year. He was like third or fourth in the league in rushing that year. And they had guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield, which Drew Brees is very good with as well. But they use that a lot on like pitches and screens and things like that. So they're getting creative yards other ways. They're doing a lot of the end arounds and things like that. Like they're getting creative on getting the ball, and they moved the ball for over 200 yards for I think the third straight week this week. That's super impressive for a team that we said before would just air the ball out, basically have a minute and 10 second drives because they were just throwing the ball 30 yards, and then their defense they'd be winning games 35-30 or they'd be losing games 38-30. You know what I mean? So this is a team where they can run the ball, they can win it 12-10 if they have to. They can also win it, as we saw, 38-30, 30-35 or whatever this was. Do you think, because of how good they are offensively, and their defense got a little nicked up in this game, I don't know how long that's going to be, I don't know, and everyone has injuries at this time of the year. Part of the Eagles being 9-1 is that they have been, knock on wood, fairly healthy outside of Darren Sproles. Ertz was out for a little bit, and Peters, but they have depth at all those positions, luckily, and they've been healthy relatively everywhere else except linebacker. So, if the New Orleans are fully healthy, do you think that they could go into Philadelphia and beat Philadelphia on the road?
No, I wouldn't pick them. No.
Would you pick the Rams or Minnesota? Because I think Minnesota is a team built for... Their defense is incredibly good, and their offense... Look, they just beat the Rams 28-7.
Rams and Minnesota, I might...
The Rams just...
I would just trust them more.
The Rams just lost to Minnesota 28-7.
But I'm not an expert on it.
Minnesota's offense is a lot better than people have been talking. I mean, but the last 3 weeks they have been way better than expected, especially last week against a good team in the Rams.
I would just trust them more just because...
Over New Orleans?
Yeah, just because longevity-wise, defensively. Who knows what's going to happen in New Orleans.
No, I agree.
You would... If it keeps rolling this way, then yeah.
Look, I think Minnesota's the best team.
I wouldn't go with that.
If I had to pick a team to go beat, if I had to go a team to go beat Philly in Philly, I would pick Minnesota. Minnesota is the host.
Yeah.
Minnesota is the host of the Super Bowl this year, so it's interesting that them, the Rams, the Eagles, are all in the mix. A team has never hosted the Super Bowl and played in it, so.
Right. It's not happening, but yeah.
You think they'll lose to the Rams, Eagles, or Saints?
Just because it never happens, yeah. Only for that reason. I don't need that's as much logic as you need for that.
Atlanta, Seattle, both are in the mix as well. Do you think they got themselves back in the mix, or do you think they just pulled Seattle out of the mix and they're both out of the mix together? Seattle's only a game out of their division, but their defense can't stop anybody right now.
Seattle's messed up right now.
And their offensive line can't block you, me, and a Pee-wee football team.
Seattle lost Chandler, whatever else.
Yeah, their whole secondary is... They're on the second string player on every single secondary position right now.
Seattle.
All four. Earl Thomas is out.
Yeah. Seattle I'm all but done with just because of their defense. Taking so many injuries. I would definitely take Atlanta over them, yeah.
Well, Atlanta beat them, but...
Well, I mean...
34-31. Atlanta's defense also did not do all that. I mean, they gave up a lot of big plays. I have a question for you in this game.
Yeah.
7 seconds to go. 25-yard line. Second quarter.
Yep. You're 25 with opponents.
The opponents. You're kicking a field goal.
Okay.
Because there's 7 seconds.
I don't know what you're asking.
There's 7 seconds.
I know what you're going to ask because there was memes everywhere about it.
You have no timeouts. They ran a fake field goal.
Fuck's sake.
It got blown up.
Yeah. You're a genius when you make it, but when you don't, you look like an asshole.
They lost by 3.
You look like an asshole.
They lost by 3.
So what? That's a 35-yard field goal?
Not saying it's automatic. I'm not saying it's automatic at all.
I'm just saying when you convert, you look like a genius. When you don't, you look stupid. And I always say go with not the potential fuck up, which would be the fake.
I always take the point. Now,
take that. This ain't Madden.
And I'm not
Madden
even,
sometimes when you play Madden, you're like, you know what, I'm going to take, don't be a punk, go for it, don't be a punk.
1,000% honest with you.
I'm going to be a punk and kick my field goal, get my 3.
Me too. I'm 1,000% honest with you though.
Stupid.
I don't hate, and I'm telling you this, I do not hate it. I'm not against this kind of trick plays. I'm not against it. Hold on.
What is the point?
Here's my problem with what happened. Here's my question to you. There was 7 seconds left. You have no timeouts. They tried to throw it to a tight end. He would have had to run 20 yards down the field.
Don't care.
You can't tell. You think, what if he gets tackled inbounds?
I do not care.
You have no time, and the same thing happens. Right. But my point is why run? I don't care if you're on the 5-yard line. All right, so it makes sense.
Kick the field goal.
If he gets tackled before he hits the touchdown, then you lose the down anyways, and you don't get to run the next play.
Yeah, there's no justification for it. You kick the field goal.
It doesn't make sense what they did. Like I'm just confused on like, all right, that's fine. You went for it. It's odd, but
stupid. No, it's not fun.
Sure, you tried to catch him off guard, and they weren't caught off guard. But
that's horrible. That's a whole different ball.
Let's say he catches the football. What happened? He gets caught from behind. A defensive lineman can catch your backup tight end usually. There's linebackers all over that. There's backup safeties on the field goal block team. He's getting caught.
Was it one of those freaking
Yeah, where the holder went to peek, he got it, he picked up and he ran back in a circle, and when he turned around, the nose tackle was in his face and just pushed him over.
What the hell? I can't come up with the term. The numbers, logistics, not logistics. Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Your favorite thing with numbers?
What?
In sports, what the hell is it called? I'm drawing a blank.
Analytics?
Analytics, I'm saying logistics. Was it one of those analytic things where it was like, well, my chart says that I should definitely go for it in this situation?
No.
Well, you sure?
Analytics say
you had those dumbass charts.
Analytics say go for it, or analytics say go for the points every single time. Analytics say go for the points every single time.
Who was the dumbass that went for it? The coach?
I'm going to proudly say this. Can you ask me again? Can you ask me the same exact question again?
Who's the dumbass decided to go for this?
Pete Carroll. You know what else he did?
Pete Carroll? What does Pete Carroll do with this?
He's the one who went for it. He's the Seahawks coach.
I thought you were saying Atlanta did this.
No, the Seahawks did this.
Oh, see? This, okay.
You know what else he did?
What did he do, Jared?
He cheated and gave Reggie Bush a house. And you know what else he did?
What else did he do, Jared?
He left USC when they were about to get a lot of sanctions high and dry, and then it put him back a couple years. And you know what else he did? One last thing. I got one last thing for you. You know what else he did?
The one thing that I was waiting for you to fucking say?
He passed the ball on the 1-yard line instead of handing it off to Marshawn Lynch. In the Super Bowl. Dwight.
Really? I didn't know that. He did that?
He also did it the next year.
That guy?
Are you ready for a bonus one? He did it the next year in New Orleans, and then Marshawn Lynch decided to say he had an injury the next week and never played another snap for Seattle.
Because Marshawn Lynch. Fuck
he
Pete
retired
Carroll
for a year.
Pete Carroll's a bum for that. Fuck Pete Carroll. That's ridiculous.
I second that.
I don't dislike Pete Carroll, but when you make dumbass decisions, you need to be called out for being a dumbass, and that was a dumbass decision. All those were dumbass decisions.
They lost by 3.
You know, you really can't bring up the freaking Marshawn Lynch thing, by the way, on the goal line when you defended.
Oh, I defended. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I defended all day.
Shut up.
I defended all day. They went for it 27 times that year in the same exact. They did the same exact play that was picked off, but it wasn't picked off. They made it 27 for 27 going into that game inside the 5-yard line.
Did you not get him on that? I'm just saying.
I mean, that's one of the best stats I've ever. Because like it's the backstory. It's known as the worst play call of all time, and it's really not. It's really not. As much as I don't like Pete Carroll, it's really not the worst play call of all time. It's not.
It is.
It's not. They did it 27 times that year and made it 27 times. It's just you had a better coach on the other side. He knew it. He knew your play. They said
27 times. Eventually, I'm just going to catch you.
The infamous story is the last play from the scout team on Friday. The practice of the Super Bowl was Butler picking that same exact play off.
So therefore, you cannot get on Pete Carroll for that.
No, I don't. Absolutely not. It was just funny. I like to have. That was great. Because
it was factual.
Because what you said, you were like and then I was like, well, I have to say it now, and so I said it, and then we laughed.
it's funny until you realize he agreed with Pete Carroll in that situation. So that kind of makes sense.
I didn't agree with Pete Carroll. I didn't actually realize he did that until a day or two later. I heard it.
It doesn't matter whether you realized it or not. What was it the right call in that moment? Before you knew, did you say what the hell?
Look, Raw playing Madden, and it was you and I. Yes, I'm handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch every single time. Raw playing Madden, but I stick to my guns. If I'm a coach, that I do this every single time. I stick to my guns.
I'm not asking Pete Carroll's bum ass. I'm asking Jared Hood right now. Jared Hood, before he knew this nut ass stat that nobody else knew other than Jared Hood after the fact. Before you knew this nut ass stat.
If it's Raw. And you're telling me I have one play, and and you're just, this is it. I have to pick it on Madden. Yes, you're absolutely right.
No, I'm not talking about Madden. Stop going into the video game. Right? I'm talking about real life. When you saw this play happen in real life.
Oh, when I saw it,
and you didn't know what the hell.
I was fooled like everyone else, and I was like, oh wow, that was a really dumb play.
Stop speaking in tongues. Did you?
No, I said that was a really dumb play at the time. I was fooled like everyone else, and I did not realize that he did that 27 for 27 times. You're not gonna. Dwight, if you did something 27,
the entire world was fooled.
27 for 27. No, he was fooled because Bill Belichick ended up knowing the stat before anybody else.
Bill Belichick was the only fool out there. Only non-fool. Excuse me. He was the only non-fool. Got it.
I haven't heard anybody else talking about that stat.
Yeah, because you're the only nerd that knows the stat.
I mean, I heard it from Bill Belichick in an interview.
Well, he gets paid to know that stat.
Yeah, it's incredible. He would make a great analyst, but he's gonna probably either die or retire at 77 and never go into analyze. Anyways,
my man just said Bill Belichick's gonna die at 77. You heard it here on a JD Sports 100 episode.
He's 71 now.
So you saying he got 6 more rounds? About 4 more Super Bowls?
I think Brady retires around.
I would say Brady's got, what, 5 more years, so...
No, break his heart. So I had a list written down on the way we were going to go and like what order we were going to go, and then we jumped around so much here. That's how you know JD Sports is so organized.
Go down. You don't just skip over. You just said it's going to break his heart. He said out on his breath like nobody realized that. It's going to break his heart.
Not break his heart.
Is that why Bill Belichick's going to go? Because
it's going to break his heart.
That's fucked up.
So you know what's really messed up as well?
No, you're no. That was a dick move. Because he said, no, because he was legit going to carry on. He acted like he didn't just say that, it's going to break his heart, and he was going to keep going. No, I caught that asshole. That was a dick move. I mean, his whole conversation was messed up. He was like, no, it's going to break his heart. Damn. Alright. R.I.P. Bill Belichick. This is JD Sports 100 episode.
So Andy Reid, out of a bye.
This nerd stat now. I've heard this like 1,000 times. You bring up Andy Reid out of a bye 1,000,000 times on the show. And I still don't know because I don't care enough to remember it.
But, so, I'm not even going to say the stat. It's really good, right? It's really good, right? He's really good out of a bye, right?
Sure. Right, that's what I hear.
He just lost to the Giants out of a bye.
That sucks.
In overtime. 12 to 9. Dwight, 12 to 9. This Kansas City offense scored 9 points against the Giants. 9 points! San Francisco scored 42!
The Chiefs just suck right now. Can we just say that?
They've lost 4 or 5. One of them against the Giants, one against Dallas, but Dallas did have Zeke, and Zeke ran all over them. Zeke had a great day in that game.
We'll let that one slide.
Their only win in these 4 games is against Denver, who was on a 6-game losing streak.
But then he lost to the Giants.
Lost to the Giants, lost to the Eagles, lost to Cowboys.
Let the Eagles slide. Let the Cowboys aim slide in that moment.
Lost to Oakland on a Thursday night. Lost to Pittsburgh the week before.
I'll give you Pittsburgh.
So they lost to Pittsburgh, lost to Oakland, beat Denver, lost to Dallas, lost to
the Giants, lost to
somebody else in that time frame.
Whatever. That's ridiculous. Chiefs are falling off, man. They're falling off a little bit. I don't know what's going on. They're not. It's like they're beating who they should be competing with, but
But coming out of a bye, Andy Reid just lost to the Giants too, to Eli Manning.
I don't care about that whole out the bye thing. I realize it's a big deal, but it's more so just because
just lose to the Giants though.
The fact that it is out of
that's only the Giants' second win.
I don't know. The Chiefs are messed up, man. I don't.
Eli had 4 field goals.
Eli had 4.
Alex Smith looked like the Alex Smith that a lot of people want to call Alex Smith, and he only had 3 field goals. Lost to Eli. So, I'm not saying take him out of it against New England and Pittsburgh, but the way Pittsburgh looked on Thursday night and the way New England looked 25,000 feet in the air against Oakland, they derailed Oakland, and Pittsburgh absolutely destroyed Tennessee in the second half of the game, more than the Eagles did Dallas in the second half of that game. I mean, it was bad for Tennessee. So
yeah.
Antonio Brown, I think he just caught another patch for a touchdown. By the way,
while we were talking, right?
While we were talking, literally, just
I saw it.
That's crazy.
No, I mean the Chiefs. This whole thing with them.
But New England and Pittsburgh are now the top of the top. I mean, the Chiefs have to be now. Like now, they have to be the way they losing 4 or 5 the way they did.
Let's get to the postseason and then have that conversation, because if those 3 teams are still in it, I'm still.
Pittsburgh has the Chiefs numbers. Chiefs have New England's numbers. New England has Pittsburgh's numbers, right? And that's how that's kind of gone in the last couple of years.
Regardless, Kansas City in the postseason, I still say that they're really legitimate. They just got to make sure they get there at this point, because if they keep losing, they're not going to get there. But I mean, the division's trash, so they could still get in. But no, that's what I was going to say. Was this kind of goes back to what I said like 3 weeks ago when I said, outside of New England, who do you trust? And we had a decent, lengthy conversation about it.
And we both agreed that Kansas City and Pittsburgh were the teams.
No, we came to the conclusion that outside of New England. Because I said, no, who would you bet right here today outside of New England? Could you really legitimately, and I said put the Eagles on the side.
Right.
Pick anybody. You said no.
No. Because you can't go against New England ever. And
well, regardless of that.
Right now, I think the Eagles have proven to me over the last, I'd say, month and a half that they're not just dominating teams, they're beating the teams they're supposed to. That I would bet on them in the NFC sense, but I don't know if I would.
That's why I said put that on the side.
But I don't know if I'd bet on them against
anybody else.
I don't even know if I'd bet on them against New England right now because of how high New England's rolling offensively and even defensively last couple weeks.
We already know we're going to pick New England and Philly. I said ignore those 2. Outside of those 2, is there any other guarantee that you could go with?
Guarantee?
And you said no.
No.
Right, and that was my point. Is that
no? I don't know.
I said this 3 or 4 weeks ago. When
if Detroit beats Minnesota on Thursday, and if the Rams lose 2 games,
there's a lot of good teams. There's a lot of solid teams. There's also a lot of There's nothing that you could really.
If Carolina and Atlanta win 2 games and the Saints lose 1 game in that division, so yes, I'm with you. No, it's wide open. The rest of the NFC is crazy.
The rest of the NFL is wide open.
The AFC, I mean, Tennessee just got walloped by 35 in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Houston just won by 10 with a backup quarterback. And against it was against Arizona. It was against Arizona, but
still.
Jacksonville's leading that division.
They look good, but again, that's not something. I'm gonna say, Jared Hood, your life's on the line. Or you go, no, right, right. It's the NFL. Like there's not a whole lot of domination going on in this league right now, which is a good thing, but it's also a telling thing, which isn't good.
You want to think? So something that happened after we. Sadly, it happened after we recorded because I wish it would have been announced before we recorded because we would have looked. At least I know I would have, and I think you would have agreed with me. We would have looked oh so right. The Buffalo Bills, for some reason, decided to send Tyrod Taylor for Nathan Peterman, and I can't even get through it without laughing because this guy threw 5 interceptions and 14 passes and got sacked. He threw more yards to the defense than he did to his offensive players.
Why did he do him like that?
He completed 3 less.
Why did
he completed 3 less to the defense? He did complete 8 to the offense.
Why did he do him like this? Why?
So
if this was if this was like a high school game, this coach would have been fired. He would have been on ESPN. He had no business being on.
Do you take him out of after the 4th pick? What pick do you take after the 4th? Look, because the 4th pick was 4 picks and 10 throws. It was 4. His first 4 picks were in 10 throws. He completed 5 passes and threw 4 picks and 10 throws.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying after the 3rd one, but yeah, he's got to be taken out. I say after 3. Especially that early, come on, man!
He was getting absolutely punished out there too. His offensive line did not help him at all.
There's no reason to have him out there. Just pull him. It's fine. It's fine. It looks better if you pull him. Like I said, if this was a high school game, that coach would be destroyed for just letting that kid embarrass himself.
They were 6-2, right? Weren't they 6-2 2 games ago? And now they're 6-4.
They were in the wild card hurt, and now all of a sudden they're kind of not.
So here's my thing.
6-2, 6-3, 6-4.
But now they're 6-4 now. Well, whatever. So my point being is, so here's my problem, and here's exactly why I would have ran through them before this, and here's exactly why I'm going to run through them right now. They sat Tyrod Taylor because they said, quote unquote, I want to spark something different with this team. The games that they lost, right? The 2 games that they lost going into this game, they lost to the Jets. They gave up 44 points in the game against the Jets. The next game that they lost to the Saints, 42 points.
Jesus.
Tyrod Taylor plays quarterback. I'm getting real confused here how that's his fault.
They thought he was going to put up 45? Like, I don't...
He scored 31 in one of those games. Yes, they lost 42 to 17 or whatever to the Saints, but at the same time, you give up 42 points. Whatever.
This other guy was going to put up 50. I got that logic. I got it.
And that's another thing. What did you see in practice to think this guy's better than Tyrod Taylor?
Is he a rookie?
He's a rookie or second-year player. But my point being is Tyrod Taylor was on pace to have over. He was on pace to have over 2,000 yards passing and just over 1,000 yards rushing this year. He would only been the third quarterback to do that.
You're in a hunt for a wild card spot. Why are you changing now?
In your wins, he was obviously your best player.
You're in a wild card slot, and you're the Buffalo Bills, and that shit.
You have no wide receivers. What else do you need from JD Sports? Because we've just been throwing some things off the wall here. And this conversation that we're having right now, I thoroughly believe it would have happened if they would have announced this before we got to record last week. Because I heard the news, and my first thought was like, what? And then I heard the press conference, and I literally changed the channel because I was like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not even... Whatever their real reason is behind the scenes, whether there's a contract thing going on with him getting injured, whether they are trying to trade him at the end of the year, whatever their reasoning is for actually sitting Tyrod Taylor, they look so stupid.
I don't understand why they keep disrespecting him forever. The fact that you even said that might be a possibility. They might be trading him on the basis of what and for what.
But there has to be some reason that you don't just sit this guy. You don't just sit this guy.
Clearly don't believe in him.
And he had no clue why. He said it straight. He's like,
we don't believe in him, even though he's right there in the playoff hunt, and now we're kind of not. So now what? No, what do you do now? Do you go back to Tyrod Taylor? That looks really bad.
We were talking about Buffalo or Minnesota, and I forgot to say this to you earlier about Minnesota, and this is kind of, maybe this will be like a wide open to Minnesota. Now that Teddy Bridgewater is healthy enough to play, there's a lot of pressure on their coach to sit Keenum and put Bridgewater in. This should be a great example of you are winning, your quarterback's actually playing well, he's playing pretty decent, you're doing pretty good, you're winning. Even if you're not winning, your quarterback's not the reason you're losing. Why would you take Case Keenum out right now and put Bridgewater in? Especially now you have the blueprint of what happens. You take Tyrod Taylor and you put Nathan Peterman in, you get 5 interceptions and 14 throws. You get 4 and 10.
I know why. Because nobody cares because it's not the Cowboys situation with Romo and Dak. Nobody cares. Nobody's talking about it. That's why. It's not getting headlines. So they're just going to do what the hell they want. This was an every week thing when it was the Cowboys and Dak and Romo.
That felt good. I haven't gotten fired up in a while.
Just saying. Doesn't make any sense.
It's so dumb.
I mean, I still think Bridgewater deserves to get his job back.
I like Bridgewater, and I would love to see him play football somewhere else, and I'm not even against him.
I hate the fact that...
I'm a huge fan of him, but Case Keenum just put up 40 points
he did.
2 weeks ago.
That's fine.
28 this week.
That's fine. And that's fine.
36 the week before.
But you know what?
They're the second or third best team in the NFC. You can't do that to your quarterback.
I just can't stand the fact that all I hear people talking about is, what about Sam Bradford? I'm like, well, fuck Sam Bradford.
He's on IR and he's going to retire. He's on IR. He's going to retire.
He replaced Teddy Bridgewater, who played.
They only brought him in because Bridgewater got hurt.
Right.
They would have never brought him.
Well. Now this other guy's playing. These other guys playing very well. So now you have a decision you need.
Part of it's the offense as well.
One of those guys need to go. What are you going to do with one of them? You can't
Bridgewater's a free agent at the end of the year. I think
he deserves to go somewhere else.
I think somebody would take a chance on him, and I think they should re-sign Keenum, especially if you're going to continue to win at this rate. You're going to go into the playoffs this way.
Supposedly you can't lose your job to injury, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, Wally Pipp did, and ever since then it's been changed. Anything else to talk about with the NFL?
No.
Quickly, I'm going to go in on college because it's going to work itself out. There's a real big uproar. Clemson and Miami will play each other. They're both going to figure out a spot for the top 4. Wisconsin will have to play Ohio State. Unless Ohio State loses another game, then Wisconsin will have to play Penn State in the Big Ten Championship. But I think Wisconsin will lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship. So that might be your wrench because Ohio State, I think, might get voted in. If not, you might have 2 ACC teams in there in Clemson and Miami. You might, and I was thinking the other wrench would be 2 SEC teams in there because if Auburn somehow could beat Alabama, but then beat Georgia again, do you put Alabama in it? Or if Alabama could beat Auburn in a close game, but then Alabama beats Georgia, what do you do? I mean, things just get really weird and chaotic here. But It will work itself out here in the next couple weeks. A lot of people play a lot of people. Oklahoma plays TCU. Wisconsin will have their shot. I am a little frustrated, and if we had 8 teams or 6 teams, we might be able to put teams like UFC in there.
I'm just going to keep
University of Central Florida.
Well,
look, it's gonna end at 8, but it might stop at 6 on the way. It's at 4 right now. We might go to 6 where the first 2 teams have a bye. No, it's gonna stop at 8. It will stop at 8.
Sounds cool.
It can't go past. It won't go past 8.
Just saying.
I have a plan for it to be 16 or 32, but I will never get listened to, and that logistically it makes sense because of the amount of teams in the NCAA. But I don't think they should go past 8 because numbers wise, it's just 8 is enough.
32.
8 is enough. 8 is enough. 8 is enough.
My man just said the entire NFL deserves to be in the playoff.
There's also 162 teams in the NCAA.
That's fine. That's also obnoxious.
110 of them are available to go to this playoff.
That's cool. That is obnoxious. 32.
110 teams are eligible for the final.
We already have 5,000 bowl games. What else do we need?
That's why we would cut them out. We would cut a lot of those out and make them into playoff games. They would be would not be more fun. You're already set up with all those bowl games.
We don't need January madness.
That's not time for JD Sports.
Oh my god.
I have a plan if we ever want to hear it though. So
nobody wants to hear that. That's crazy.
It will work itself out with these 4 though. I do want to see it expand to the 8 or 6 or 8 one day because I do want to see teams like University of Central Florida have a shot at this. They're undefeated right now. They deserve a chance at this. They're not going to have a chance at the Final Four. There's no way. And honestly, they would get blown out by most of the top 25. I understand that, but I still look. You're undefeated. You can only play who's in front of you, and they. Anyways, it will work itself out overall. Anything with basketball? You want to talk about basketball or anything? I didn't even ask you before the show if we want to talk anything else other than the NFL. We're going to talk about SummerSlam. I assume we're going to go over Survivor Series. I said that's the second time I did SummerSlam. I'm tired. It's been a long week. It's peak season. Behind the smile, Dwight.
I can't use that hashtag. Stop saying that.
Survivor Series.
You know, they say that BS, but they don't ask if I'm happy. I'm not smiling. I'm like, fuck y'all.
Survivor Series.
What if I'm not smiling?
Survivor Series.
What if I'm not smiling?
Were you smiling during Survivor Series?
I was, because it was actually very good.
Do you want to talk about the NBA?
It was solid. Survivor Series was very good. I recommend people checking it out. This is going to be my weekly take a crap on Lonzo Ball. Did you see that thing I retweeted from ESPN?
No.
The age thing?
It was the same day as LeBron for his second one?
It was ironic. Yes, it was ironic as hell because we just had this conversation. Why I can't stand because ESPN, they put up the thing that said, oh, this is LeBron's or Lonzo's second career triple double. Yeah, triple double. And it just so happens to be to the day that LeBron had his second.
Yeah, I saw that. But
who in the hell gives a shit?
You should have tweeted at me because I kind of do. That's pretty cool. Good for them. It doesn't really matter.
I can kick you
in the throat. It doesn't mean anything.
I can kick you in the throat.
It means nothing.
It means nothing, and nobody cares outside of nerdy losers behind ESPN and him. That is so irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. I'll give you that. It means nothing to the game of basketball. And his numbers...
And someone's getting paid for that.
His numbers through the same amount of games as LeBron through that amount of games aren't even... Like, LeBron blows him out of the water, obviously, in every statistical category except for assists.
The youngest player in the history of life on a Wednesday to talk to his mother, and his mother put up a layup, and his mother said, I did well. And like, I hate age stats. I hate age stats.
Well,
age stats are irrelevant and
players can come in, and they are coming in at a younger age at a higher rate.
And it's going to get younger and younger, so who cares? Who cares? 20 years ago, people were staying in college for 3 or 4 years at a time. It's a completely different, like, it's going to get younger. It's cool. It's cool, like, and that's fine, but it means absolutely nothing to me, and it shouldn't mean anything to anybody. Like, does that mean that Lonzo Ball is now LeBron James? Like, that means that it's solidified that Lonzo Ball is going to be LeBron James. How long has LeBron been in the league? Too damn long. 15 years. So in 15 years, we'll be saying Lonzo Ball, he is the LeBron James of Lahu. It's not Lahu. It's Lalon. Lonzo is out here. Get out of here. Like that. Just irritates the hell out of me. And stuff like that, it shouldn't be taken seriously. Because if you take it seriously, not only are you a loser, but I need you to go out and make some friends and get a girl in your life or something. Because that just it makes no sense to me. He's garbage. The team's garbage. Yeah. Are you ready now?
Yeah.
Because I could keep roasting. I'm sure I can keep going.
You want to do picks, Dwight?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, I can keep roasting. You sure?
I won 11-3 last week.
I could probably get a little more personal. Good for you. I went 8-6.
What?
Uh-huh.
Damn, well, I'm 109-51 now.
Wait, 11-3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went 8-6.
I lost because I won Tennessee, Pittsburgh. I picked Pittsburgh. I won Baltimore, Green Bay. I picked Baltimore. I won New Orleans, Washington. I picked New Orleans. Won Tampa, Miami. I picked Tampa. Won Jacksonville, Cleveland. I picked Jacksonville.
Yep.
Won Minnesota, Rams. I picked Minnesota. Won Houston, Arizona. I picked Houston. Won Detroit, Chicago. I won Detroit. Lost Giants and Kansas City because I picked Kansas City. Lost Buffalo, Chargers because I picked Buffalo. Won New England, Oakland. Won Cincinnati, Denver because I picked Cincinnati. Philly, Dallas, and then Seattle, Atlanta. I lost. Those were my 3 losses. Seattle, Atlanta, Giants, and Kansas City and Buffalo and Chargers. I won the rest of them. How'd you lose?
I picked the Buccaneers. No, I picked the Dolphins over the Bucs.
Okay.
I picked the Packers over the Ravens.
Uh-huh.
I picked the Cardinals over the Texans. Chiefs over the Giants.
Me too.
Broncos over the Bengals. And yep. And Seahawks over.
Damn. All right.
Yep.
All right, Dwight. Well, getting into our picks this week. Last week I went 11-3. I am 109-51 overall.
Yeah, I was keeping that whole conversation. I'm 103-57.
All right. Well.
Yep.
Thanksgiving. 3 games this week.
Cowboys are playing who? Oh, I actually know this week.
Chargers.
I might know this week.
We'll get there.
St. Louis?
Yes.
Okay.
4 o'clock.
The noon game is Minnesota-Detroit. This is the game. If Detroit wins this game, it will throw a wrench into everything for the NFC North. But if Minnesota wins, they get a really tight grip on this. And Detroit, keeping hold of form, they haven't beat anybody with a winning record this year. So I'm picking Minnesota in this one. And if Minnesota wins, they get a grip on the NFC North and kind of really hold firm as one of the top teams in the NFC and kind of with the Eagles, put themselves in the driver's seat for a playoff run. Who you got?
Minnesota. They're a better team. They're more surefire bet.
Detroit's offense can score. Their defense scares me. In that Dallas game, Dallas at home against a good Chargers team.
I think that's the second time you've said that. And it's making me...
I don't think the Chargers are that
it's
good.
making
But
me nervous.
they had 6 turnovers last week.
It's making me nervous.
5 interceptions.
A good Chargers team. I don't think the Chargers are
They have a good wide receivers.
I'm going to need you to pick a statement. A good Chargers team. I don't think the Chargers are that good.
I had a hard time picking this game.
I'm going to need you to pick a statement. Are they a good team or no?
No.
Okay, then. Then they're not good Chargers team. So what did you have so hard about picking about it? Call him slipping. Slipping on the 100th episode.
I was afraid Dallas wasn't going to be able to move the ball, run the ball a whole lot because that front 7 of the Chargers isn't that bad. But should have Smith back. I picked Dallas. I think that Dak is out to prove something. I think Dez always shows up in big games. I think if they can get the ball moving with Alfred Morrison, they proved to me that they can do a 12-minute drive. If they can continue to do things like that, keep the ball on the offensive side, try to keep the defense off the field. Stopping Phillip Rivers is going to be the hard part. I get that. Their defense is a little undermanned if Sean Lee doesn't play and the safety is still out. But Thanksgiving, short week, LA to Dallas.
It's Thanksgiving. I got the Cowboys. I can't not pick the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. It's just our day.
How about 2 other NFC East teams trying to crash the party?
I would not be watching that game. I will be asleep. That is, Dwight needs to be up for work early as hell on his day off that day. He will not be watching this hot-ass garbage. I picked the Redskins.
I picked the Redskins too.
That's good.
Buffalo taking on Kansas City, the 2 struggling teams that we were just going back and forth with.
This is the game Kansas City has to get back on track. If they do not,
they don't.
It is over.
Bro.
I'm picking Kansas City.
I picked them too. They need to get their shit together though. Who's playing quarterback for the Bills?
It should be Tyron Taylor, but they didn't announce it as of this show.
It shouldn't even matter. That's what's ridiculous.
Carolina taking on the Jets. I think Cam Newton and Carolina take care of business.
Every time you say Carolina, he always says, "I think Cam Newton." That's always like I should get a tally.
How many other teams do they? How many other players should I name?
I should get a tally because I feel like do you ever pick against them outside of when they play Philly maybe?
Yeah, sometimes.
In New England.
Not picking against them in this one against the Jets. Are you picking against them against the Jets? You picking the Jets? You picking the Jets?
I should. Why not?
Because they're playing Carolina?
Because that means anything.
Okay, who are you taking?
I picked Carolina.
Pick Carolina. Philadelphia taking on Chicago.
Carson Wentz? Oh.
I hope they keep it rolling and continue the dominance of teams that they should be, talent-wise, be superior of. Chicago has played a couple of close games this year, and just against Detroit, they did lose 27-24 last week, but they put up 24. Again, I don't trust Detroit's defense. I trust the Eagles' defense a little more than that, so I'm going to pick Philadelphia.
You don't trust Chicago's defense, you should say. I picked the Eagles.
Miami taking on New England. Your favorite quarterback versus Tom Brady.
I got Newport 100s. I mean, New England.
I have New England as well. Does Cleveland get their first win against Cincinnati this week?
That's cute. No.
No?
No.
No?
No. The Bengals suck, but no. The Bengals do suck.
They just beat Detroit. Denver. I'm sorry. They just beat Denver.
They suck, too.
I'm taking Cincinnati.
Look, the Browns might actually win this, but I'm not picking them.
I'm taking Cincinnati as well.
Remember that quote.
Tampa Bay.
When they win next week, I'm going to say, see, I should have picked them.
Tampa Bay taking on Atlanta. Ryan Fitzpatrick still sounds like it's going to be the quarterback of Tampa Bay for this week.
Buccaneers suck. Falcons.
I'm taking the Falcons at home as well. The Falcons climbed themselves back into this with a win this week. I mean, they're right in the mix now, but if they win this week, they're really stepping their game, and they become a team to fear again all over after we were just talking about how they might have been out of it a couple weeks ago. It's the NFL, it's crazy. Tennessee taking on Indianapolis Colts. I would not be surprised if the Colts won this game, but I'm taking Tennessee. 11 days off, just gave up 40 points. Mariota with something to prove.
Mariota has a lot to prove.
That was his worst game of his career. Four picks.
Yeah. I mean, well, just the season in general, he has a lot to prove still. But until Andrew Luck comes back, I'm going to keep saying this. I will not pick the Colts. I'm going with Titans. And even with Andrew Luck coming back, I still might not pick him. Titans.
No matter how beat up Seattle's secondary is, if they have Russell Wilson and San Francisco plays the way they played all season, I'm taking Seattle every time. I'm going to take Seattle on this one.
I'm taking Colin Kaepernick and I'm taking the Seahawks. There's a cheap plug. I always find a way, people. GQ Man of the Year.
GQ Man of the Year, yep. I was just going to say GQ Sportsman of the Year, isn't it?
Sportsman. Something like that.
Humanitarian or something like that? Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Just to make Whitey mad. Speaking of Whitey, real quick. Why is our president all up in our... Why? Like, have you, like... Can you, like, ignore sports? Like, I don't need you worrying about sports, bro. I don't need you worrying about Colin. I don't need you worrying... Who was he tweeting about this week? I'm drawing away right now.
Ball. Ball. Or LeVar Ball. I'm sorry.
Can you leave that to jabronis like me to talk about LeVar Ball? I don't need you talking about LeVar Ball.
He responds to guys like LeVar Ball. He responds to... about things
how's
like
Puerto Rico doing? How's Houston doing? How's Miami doing?
Kaepernick or NFL players.
How's Flint doing? We had this conversation all the time.
But he never responds to people like Greg Popovich, or he never responds to people like Steve Kerr. You know, like intelligent human beings who he would not probably ever sit down and have a conversation with. And I am confused on why he likes to personally attack certain people, but he doesn't attack other people in the same realm. And I agree, but if he's going to go after someone, he's going to go after all.
I get it. What?
Why go after any of them? It's kind of dumb. He has way more important things to deal with, I think, than the Ball family, for sure.
LeBron. But Obama can't go to a freaking Bulls game for 1 quarter.
Couldn't go to a game in Puerto Rico. Remember when he got the ban between Puerto Rico or Cuba and America?
Yeah.
And he went to a Cuban baseball game. He stayed for 3 innings, and he still got just demolished for it. I agree.
Where y'all at, Whiteys?
Back to football. Denver taking on Oakland.
He talks about football too, so yeah.
Denver taking on Oakland. Trash versus trash.
Raiders. My quarterback. My president's trash.
Raiders as well.
I'm just irritated.
Jacksonville taking on Arizona.
God, you would hope Jacksonville.
I'm picking Jacksonville as well. They better win this one.
I don't think I've ever picked Jacksonville more in one season.
If they want to actually win this division, they got to win this game, I think. If they win this game, they really separate themselves from the rest of the division. They have a game lead on them. They win this, they take another. You know what I mean? It's just, that's 11 weeks in.
Can y'all just hear how irritated we sound now? We love our president.
New Orleans taking on the Rams. This is a great offense versus a great defense, a great run and pass offense versus a pretty good run defense. I'm taking New Orleans because of the streak they're on, and it's hard to bet against them. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams pulled this off. The Rams kind of need this to keep the NFC close, at least for second place, because they want to fight for that first round bye with Minnesota and New Orleans. To do that, you have to at least beat one of those two, and playing those two in a back-to-back week stretch, the Rams do get a shot at the Eagles as well down the stretch. You want to win 2 of those 3 games against those 3 teams because those are the 3 teams you're fighting for at least one of the first round byes. So I'm taking New Orleans though, but the Rams have a lot to prove. I wouldn't be surprised if they won.
Definitely. I mean, I keep looking for St. Louis. I keep looking for New Orleans' loss, and I'm having a hard time finding it. But I went with the Rams just because I'm like, if they don't get it now, when the heck is it coming? Because they're not going undefeated the rest of the year.
Right.
I'm like, they have to get one in. On the road against the Rams do decent at home. They got great defense. I'm going to go with them in this situation.
I mean, like I said, I'm not going to be surprised if they win this game.
Yeah.
The Sunday night game.
Uncle Raj hates me again.
He hates you on the Monday night game, too. We'll get into that in a second.
I know. He hates me like I hate my president.
The Sunday night game. Green Bay versus Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh as well.
The hell with Green Bay, man. Without Aaron Rodgers, they're a joke. They're such a joke. They're not even a joke. What's less than a joke?
Garbage, trash, bums.
Pathetic. Ass. They're ass.
The Monday night game. Baltimore's hosting Houston. Houston put up 31 last week. I like Baltimore's defense. Houston's wide receivers are good. I don't know if they're good enough to win this game. I'm taking Baltimore. Joe Flacco, though, hasn't looked all that good this year. Only 13 points against a pretty bad Green Bay team last week. I'm still taking Baltimore at home.
That's a Baltimore.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You as well.
Happy Thanksgiving to all the watchers.
Mm-hmm.
Happy 100th episode, Dwight. This has been great.
$100.
I wish we weren't so tired for the 100th episode. We'd like popping champagne, team turn up, yelling and screaming. Still not a player, but you still a hater.
That $100.
Full ways.
Mr. Benjamin.
JD Sports, we out.